Hello, welcome to this inaugural test video. You can see here I've got Warhammer Diskwars. This is an expansion to the game. This expansion is Hammer and Hold, which features primarily a new army, the dwarves, and some reinforcements for other forces that came included within the original. And my idea here is to show off the contents, pop the cardboard counters, which is a majority of this game, and then kind of take a look through them, and then eventually, kind of in a reverse order, get back to the original and examine that, and maybe dive deeper into the actual game. I've also purchased the other expansion, Legions of Darkness, which we'll look at as well, if not now, but in a future video. So right away, in typical Fantasy Flight, there's an advertisement for other games, which can be kind of interesting. I have some of these, I enjoy them. Cards. These are various cards that expand upon the decks contained within the core set. They have the nice, I believe some people refer to this as a linen texture on there. Don't know if that comes across in the video or not. These cards do a number of things. Deployment cards, like this one, kind of are used to deploy your forces in a unpredictable manner to your enemy. So your initial layout is not stale every time you play the game like it might be in some other war games. Now this, I should say, is a game which uses discs instead of traditional miniatures, discs like these here, and you simply flip them end over end rather than measuring with a ruler like you might in other games. So it's quick and fairly accurate as long as you don't get any slippage on the discs. And typically you'd set down like a green felt or some sort of surface. You wouldn't want to play on a hard, slick surface, but I'll kind of show that later. Getting back to the cards, this card looks like it's for the terrain that'll be included within this box. Most of the terrain is reversible. It's just a punch out that you set somewhere on the field, just like the discs, but it doesn't move. I forget what kind of cards these are, but this is clearly some sort of tactics for the forces. The one on the right allows scoring 5 victory points per opponent for each of your discs overlapping an enemy deployment zone. So these are victory conditions, I suppose, that are probably for both sides. The backs are different. So the one on the left, fight in the underway. A smaller medium disc overlapping a terrain piece can take a move action to move to any other terrain piece. Okay, so that's something that creates a dynamic battlefield. So this game is about playing quick and unique scenarios for the most part, and that's kind of its advantage over a miniatures setup. The rest of these cards are command cards that you would have in hand and play depending on your army's play style. There's study, bold, devious, I believe that's it, slow. So most armies will have a primary strategy, I suppose, and include secondaries. But I'm going to set these down and come back to these perhaps when we kind of look over the core game. This, like I said, features a new army, the Dwarves. A quick introduction here to the box. Pre-built armies listed here. You can build your own with a commander and assigning various other lesser units that are worth different point values to that commander's regiment. So you can play at different scales. Some games would be one commander, others might have multiple commanders for longer games. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this out. These are the cardboard sheets with the various discs. Starting from the top here, you can see that terrain we talked about. Looks like it's some sort of production facility with smokestacks, silo, and an anvil and furnace, probably a dwarven type. I didn't take note on the card. This is obviously a mine on the back, maybe a gold mine, though the cards look like they're filled with something other than gold. Here we have the first sheet of discs, which include, in the bottom right, a gyrocopter, war machine, flying, mobile, stalwart. So these are different keyword abilities that really add the flavor to these discs and units. Other than keywords, what you have here is movement. So this particular disc would have a movement of 4, albeit flying. So that means it can move over other units without engaging them. The black circle at the top is attack value, and the white circle at the top is defense value. So that's the number you have to roll equal to or above to inflict a hit. Once a disc has taken a hit, it then makes a save on its toughness here, and if that toughness is exceeded or met or exceeded, the unit would take a wound. Most units can only sustain 1 wound, and that we might as well check the core rule book while going through these so that I don't leave anything out, because I know that can be frustrating here. Stamina. So this is stamina in the bottom right, and I believe that's going to be like a wound. Yes, so F, stamina, and a wound token is, you can see a broken stamina icon. I believe that's correct. If not, we'll find out shortly. The rest of the information on here, the bottom center, that's faction. Next to that is just the expansion symbol for hammer and anvil. Faction in the middle, and on the left is the point value. This arrow here indicates a range attack, so this would have a medium range attack. 1 die, however, causing 4 wounds, I believe. So those wounds by a single attack would all need to be saved. That is physical damage, 4 physical damage from a single ranged attack on it. So let's punch that out. These come out really nicely, high quality. Just fall right out. And let's put these up here. I got ahead of myself. The rest of these pieces are the Crackhern Miners. That's a regular infantry for the dwarves, a 7-point cost. Slow as you might expect from the dwarves. That this disc can reinforce overlapping any terrain if it does not pin an enemy. And so that is how you can bring out new discs, reinforcements. So it sounds like these guys can come through various terrain features. So that'd make for an interesting deployment. Another copy of them. And these are the same on both sides because of the fact that they do have to flip during play. 4 movement, 3 attack, 2 when on defense, wounded on a 3+, venerable runesmith, mobile. I believe that means they can kind of like flyers move through and away from enemies. Empower target dwarven faction within short range, and an empowerment will allow various special abilities that we'll come across later. Now this icon here, the empowerment requires that he has a focus. So there's various ways to gain focus, but he has to spend a focus to empower. Some large discs on this. A runic cannon, somewhat hard to see sometimes, and a flame cannon. So in typical dwarf nature, the dwarven nature, there are war machines in this force. And they're some of the only Warhammer fantasy guys to use war machines. Runic cannon. A siege ability, and I believe that's different than just your normal range attack. That siege, 2 die, each causing 4. Treat. These icons at the bottom, the skulls, have something to do with the die that is rolled when attacking at range. So this cannot move. This will stay in the deployment zone. I believe siege means it can fire at any range as well. That would make sense, and it cannot move. It can defend itself, it cannot attack, and it's hard to destroy. But one hit that goes through will destroy this disc. The flame cannon, on the other hand, moves slowly. War machine, stalwart, medium range, single die for 6. Now that this disc rolls skull or cracked skull, deal 2 to each other disc within short range of the target. This has the potential to damage nearby enemies or friendlies. What else is on here? We're getting into the human faction there, or the elven faction rather. Master Engineer. character. So you can spend a focus to remove the activation icon from a war machine. That means that potentially one of these guys could have a second turn and fire twice. That could be very, very effective. But I believe it would take a turn to earn the focus ability and then another turn for this guy to use it. So he would hang back. Well, he doesn't need to hang back, but he doesn't look like a combatant. He's 8 points to get more work out of your war machines. These tokens are markers that are used along with to denote various card effects on the board. So the card that triggers the ability will show the icon indicating which one of these to place on a disc or the board. So let's look at these bells. Lothern Sea Guard. Infantry with a ranged attack. Medium strength to hit. So 5 movement, 3 attack, 3 defense, and kind of soft. But affordable ranged unit, you know, the ranged attack is really a valuable asset. Now, I've played this game only once, briefly. That was solo. Friends, usually the people I get to play are interested in other games, so it's just a matter of prioritizing. Shield icons, it's wound icons. I suppose I really should have looked into the rules a bit more before unboxing this on camera. But this is sort of a trial run, so who knows if this video will make it online or not. Interesting, these other boards here. This looks like Lizardmen, and they're not going to be a fully fleshed out army, but that's going to be allies. So, very interesting. Skink Skirmishers, 2 dice, range attack, very fast, not great for melee, and not very resilient, but great range attacker, I suppose. Blow dart, poisonous blow dart type of weapon, based on that on the art. Chakax. Now this is a hero. So the crowns indicate that they... I'll have to look that up. Not certain what that means. But it's the command units that have those crowns, and that is going to allow this guy to... He doesn't cost 34, I believe. He is allowed to... He grants you 34 points that he can command. And I believe this is something like 2 orders or 2 command cards or something along those lines. But you can see this point cost is white in that circle, and these are black. So this is giving you points, and these are spending them. So when you create an army, you would select other circles totaling no greater than 34. This guy's an excellent attacker. Will engage with the hero. This disc gains Swift, which which means he will attack and defend first, which can save his life. The engineer has a couple more discs on this sheet. The Dryad. Now this is going to be for the allies, perhaps? I'm not certain. But this force is featured. Otherwise, a player can build one regiment from the Dark Elves. Skaven, that is the wrong sheet. I'm sorry. A player can build one regiment from the included Wood Elves, Lizardmen, Commands, New Empire, and High Elf discs are included as reinforcements for those races. Okay, so this is a Wood Elf unit, no doubt. That makes sense. The High Elves are gold border. Forest Strider, when this disc overlaps rough terrain, after a flip, empower it. So it loves rough terrain. Really enjoy popping these tokens from cardboard. Always wonder if sorry about that, I bumped the camera there. I'm always wondering if I maybe forget one sometimes, so I double check them usually before they get tossed out. 4 more boards, so kind of a healthy number of counters that come with this expansion. All dwarves here. We got warriors, a standard infantry. It looks like for 6 points they move 4 and attack for 4, and they're very tough. The next thing, Karak Thunderers. This is a ranged unit, 2 dice, 4 physical. And, okay, Karak Hammers, infantry, guard 1. So these 5/4 infantry, better than these guys. And everything else is equal, except for they have better attack and defend, and they have guard. So let's punch those out. These look like poison tokens, maybe, or some sort of slime or acid splash. This seems like a quick playing, pretty good game, but I haven't really checked online to see what people think about it or if there are any problems. I know there's lots to find out there on most games, but some of the stuff like this are a little less popular, and is well discussed online. Board Game Geek can be an excellent reference, but the website rating system kind of has everything at a 7 to 8, which I don't always find very helpful, especially considering we all kind of have diverse tastes. So it can be good to highlight glaring problems with the game, or kind of show you that the game is getting better than average ratings if it works its way into the realm of a high 7 or an 8. Here's some Empire units at the bottom here. We have Halberdiers. They are swift on the defense, which means they defend first. Very cool. They are actually defensive units, considering their attack is puny 2. I think that's less than the Dwarven Engineer. They move okay, toughness is average, they're cheap, and they defend. So I'd have to see the human units to know how to use these guys. And again, the Empire units came with the core, so I'm hoping with the expansion they kind of filled roles that they thought were missing from the original. So maybe the humans did need some sort of defender. These are more ward answers, infantry. They are swift on attack and defense. While not in battle, this disc gains 2 attack and 2 defend. Now in battle, I believe means somebody is overlapping them. So you want to attack with this disc, even though it's a 3/3. It's fast, average toughness, but it's going to gain much. It's going to become a 5/5, essentially. And not to confuse just the shorthand of saying things like a 5/5 or a 3/3 with magic. And in this game, they're both powers. This is just the power when you attack, and this is the power when you defend. It's not a toughness. The toughness is here. And again, you only have to have your toughness beat once to die, unless you have stamina. This is a dwarven character, Grombrindal, the White Dwarf. He's a hero with frenzy, stalwart, and he can deal 3 damage to each disc engaged with him by spending a focus. You can see good attack stats, good toughness. He allows you to carry 33 points of soldiers into battle. I believe this is another dwarven character. Interesting. Queen Helga. Hero resistant to magic damage, I believe that is. She is swift on the defense. But every dwarf within short range of her is swift on the attack. So that's very interesting. Definitely leading the attack. Finally, this is going to be the Wood Elf hero. So Draika allows you to bring 34 points to the Wood Elves, in which it's going to be exactly that much amongst them. So I feel like this, for a larger battle, you take this as well as all the Wood Elves in place of a group from your regular army. I think most of the time you'll have 2 or 3 characters. Hero, caster, forest, mobile, strider. Spend a focus and you can flip any number of unpinned forest allies at once. So you can flip their disc. I'm not sure if that means they get their full movement, or you can just flip them to disengage, or what. But hopefully we'll go over the rules again soon. I like I said, learned and played, but that's been some time ago now. That's empty. But it's a good game, and I found these expansions on sale, so. Here is a human unit, Imperial unit, Warrior Priest, Cavalry, mounted cleric, it looks like. Impact 2, now that means you're doing extra damage when you charge. You're going to roll your disc, and when it hits an enemy disc, you do this impact. While empowered, the disc gains resistance to attacks, physical damage rather, and magic. Karak Hearn Miners, I believe this is new. The disc can reinforce overlapping any terrain if it does not pin an enemy. Oh no, these were the miners that were one of the first things we popped. So the flavor there is, I guess they're coming out of the mines, which just happen to be any terrain. Here's a Dwarven hero. Resistant to magic, gains impact 1 for each small disc in your casualty pile. So he becomes more and more aggressive on the charge as you take losses. Thorgrim Grudgebearer. There's the theme of that. This guy takes a 6 to wound and can be wounded 3 times before he's out. 32 points of soldiers. He's slow. Interesting. Here we have salamanders, part of the lizardmen allies. This is a monster here, this fire-breathing guy in the background. That is little buddy. Deal d6 rather. -1. Damage to target disc within short range. Real basic ranged attack. Not very expensive. 9, so somewhat unpredictable damage. Could be good, but it's not in the form of an attack, so I guess it's undefensible. Indefensible. 2 of those. I think I got everything there. Couple more sheets. Nope, just 1. Alright, some wound markers. I always pop them out the smooth side. So you can see this is the smooth side. And it looks like whatever the process is, it punches from this side. So it's less likely to rip on the surface if you punch from the pressed side to the smooth side, because this is pulling away. If you punch from this side, it kind of has more of a connection on this side, so it starts to tear away from the surface if you push. That's what I've come to find, at least. These are nicer, so they probably would be fine pushed from either side. But you can kind of tell that they're a little bit rounded on one side, even after you pop them, like on this side. It's a little bit more rounded than this which is pretty flat. Anyway, got more high elves. These are cavalry, impact 3, swift attack. Now that is a powerful, powerful unit. 12 points, very tough, just good all around fast combat unit on the field. Just maybe one of the best I've seen. Another venerable runesmith. He's gonna empower dwarves. What do we have here? Ancestral statue. Now this has no movement, no attack, no defense. Can be destroyed apparently. It's in place monument. Spend focus to empower up to 2 other discs within medium range. Very defensive unit. Another copy of him. And another Gyrocopter. So that is... Oh, sorry. All of the cardboard sheets. That's all of our counters, discs. Quite a bit here. There's the and so there was the same amount in the other expansion, and even more in the core set. So it's very exciting to me to think of a quick playing miniatures games where you have a miniatures game where you have, instead of traditional miniatures, all of these units just at your disposal, and plenty of each. You can just lay them down on the field and play a game. And granted, there are limitations. You know, you're not dealing with removing single casualties or anything like that if you're into that. But a lot of the flavor is gonna still be there if you observe the art and find the rules and the abilities engaging. So I think I will call it there. Maybe take a quick second look at some of these cards. They may make a little more sense now. Rune of Cleaving, a bold maneuver or a bold strategy. Runesmith. Looks like this has to be done by a runesmith. Target dwarf disc within short range gains 2 attack and 2 defense until end of the round, and you would mark it with this token like I talked about earlier. So that's kind of what some of these do. And some are not specific to any army, and some are, but you kind of get to build a deck when you begin, and if I remember correctly. So I'll go back over that in the future and hopefully know a lot more about how the game actually works, demonstrated on the table. There's a couple other great videos out there on the subject that I watched when I first bought this maybe a year or 2 ago. So I hope to keep doing some videos. I have lots of other games like this and not like this. Just mini board games, RPGs, and miniatures games that I can kind of run through. And I want to hit the areas that are kind of being overlooked by some of the majority of other people, you know, in the obviously most people focus on the most popular things because those are the things that are generally enjoyed by more people. But thank you.